sometimes I think, what is creativity? I mean, sometimes, and if you sort of sit down and think, God, I've got to think of something new or whatever, that's only part of it. I mean, that's like groundwork. But in the end, I find that, I mean, if you sort of set yourself to that pattern, well, sometimes the most creative ideas will just happen. And you think, wow. You just grasp them and then take it from there. It's coming to recognize the fact that it might all be over one day, and it's sort of like, the more we carry on, the nearer we are to that situation. You know what I mean? Because it's not like early days. I mean, after 10 years, you think, yes, we're coming. And because of that, I mean, I sort of have it in the back of my mind. I think, God, I think it obviously will end. It could end any day now. That's more my motivation than anything. I've just got more of a drive by thinking that way, if that makes sense. It's just, I will not come to the realization that it's going to end. But at the same time, I feel we still have something quite worthwhile to offer. So I think that goes along with it too. We're still just as confident as we were when we started off. And I think every time we make an album, it's a new burst of energy. And I think because we do such different albums, I think we undertake them. It's like a new project. It's very fresh, and that's a nice sort of shot in the arm, And because if we were coming up with the same old thing, we would think, oh yeah, well, it'd be readily accepted or whatever. You know what I mean? It's playing safe. Look at the risks we're taking with this one. I think because of that, it's nice. We're finding out different areas, different outlets. Therefore, we're channeling our energies towards a different sort of, in different ways. It could still. We're still the four people, but in some ways it's fresh, which is rather nice. And I'm quite excited this time. It's like, is it going to get into the black charts? Is it going to sort of get disco feel? Are they? That's nice. We never had that until Another One Bites the Dust. So that's a new area for us. Why not, see what we can do there and things like that. Oh yes. I'd hate it if every time we came up with an album, it was the norm, and we just kind of did things within that. And it is a risk, of course. It could fall back, fall flat. But I think it's one of the biggest risks we've taken for a long time. It's all right coming up with the odd one that's out of the norm, like say Crazy Little Thing, which was good. And We Will Rock You. And it was nice. People can relate to something that's outside the norm, and then they have the rest of the package, which is okay. This time we've gone really out, and a lot of reviews I've read have actually said, don't, if you associate Queen with the Bohemian Rhapsody harmonies and that kind of Cecil B. DeMille package, forget it, because there's not an ounce of that on this, which is in a way quite nice. The way I see it, you write songs and they're like, I told you that before. I write them and once they're out, they're out. I just move on. If this album is, if it was a flop and if it wasn't, we'll move on to the next. We've had albums that haven't been, absolute major. Like Jazz was considered to be slightly, one that where we'd sort of taken a dip. But that didn't stop us. We came up with another album that went whoop, the game, and so that's the way. I can't sort of. If I was to sort of think about it in those terms, where I sort of wake up every morning thinking, my God, are they going to? I'd have heart seizures and ulcers and sort of. No. I like to think it is more a broader spectrum than just that. After all. And it's just now it's sort of longevity, because in the early days, if things like that happened, it would be crucial. Yes, my outlook as being a musician is to try and reach as many people as possible, regardless what they like. That's the way. I think that's the way. It's a very commercial attitude, but that's the way I am. I'd like to write songs and reach to as many people. I don't want to sit here saying that my kind of music is only. I don't want to sort of say things like that my songs, my music should only appeal to a minority elite or something like that. You know what I mean? I want it to appeal to everybody.
Yes.
it's. I think that's. I know a lot of other musicians who
So
tend to be like that. So therefore, I mean, I'm going to take the risk, and I'm like, I'm going to write a song where if I have a ready-made audience, I'm going to hope that they're going to be a loyal following, as you say, and hope they accept me for that. But at the same time, I'd like to try and get people that obviously haven't heard of Queen suddenly
Mhm.
get hooked on by listening to a totally different piece of music which they've never heard before.